Alright, welcome to episode 18. And you might have heard of something called the Super Mario 64 Conspiracy Iceberg. They're nothing but filled of conspiracies, man. Yeah, Fillmore, I knew you were going to say that, but regardless. I kind of find those pretty interesting, and I'm not the only one who thinks so. Super 84 also finds that pretty interesting. So if you also find that interesting, let me know in the comments below. So anyway, I was thinking the other day, what would happen if there was a Cars franchise iceberg, conspiracy iceberg? It's based off the franchise as a whole, like the movies and the video games. Well, the thing is, Cars doesn't really have that much of a lore. Well, it kind of does, depending on how you look at it. So, anyway, you guys have to come up with a conspiracy that, or an inconsistency from the Cars franchise, or something very remotely obscure about it, or some weird random theory. So anyway, we're gonna start with Team Heroes and end with Team Hangouts. Simple as that. So anyway, let's get on with the conspiracies. And before we start, someone was too spooked to do this challenge, which was Team Girls. They opted to use their skip token, and they won't participate in this challenge, so they are automatically safe. So anyway, Team Heroes, what inconsistency have you guys found, or theory, or whatever? Well, there's something that's remotely obscure that no one really talks about. Alright, what's that? Well, it's mainly because they really don't pay attention to background racers, unlike most people in this community. Alright, what's that? It's that I say 1 winner, 42 losers in the first scene of Cars 1 and in Cars 3. And yet, there are only like 36 racers in Cars 1 and 35 in Cars 3, with both generations. I see. And I kind of find that to make sense. I mean, why? Yeah, I do agree with that. That is definitely a inconsistency that Pixar made. It's unknown why they didn't actually make 43 cars, including Lightning and the main characters. Maybe they have had just limits or something like that. Yeah, I mean, you can only have like a certain amount of cars in a single shot. Yeah, that is true, Lightning. So, you guys pass, but we'll come back to you guys if you guys are up for elimination or not. Alright, so Team Rare Springs, what do you guys have? Well, you know how the Cars video game has different numbers from the movie numbers? Yeah. Well, in the Xbox 360 version, they only changed some of the numbers back to their movie counterparts. They never changed Hollister, Cortland, Jolson, Clarkson, or Akins. But there exists versions of the game where all the racers have their movie numbers. Yeah, that's very interesting. So, yeah. Yeah, and I don't know why they didn't change those numbers in the actual version of the game that was released. Maybe they sent out the wrong prototype or something. Regardless, you guys pass. I gotta find that very worthy enough to be on the iceberg. Alright, Team Thailand, what do you guys have? Well, we gotta bring this up, even though it's kind of more of a meme than anything. What is that? It is that Guido is actually the fastest car in the franchise. Not Lightning, not Jackson, or Francesco. Guido is the fastest car. Because he has the fastest stats in Cars in the video game. So, that one... And he is able to catch up with Lightning McQueen and Cannon. Oh, yeah, that is kind of true. So, is everyone fast as Lightning McQueen? That's something to think about. Anyway, that is an interesting theory. But it's not really the most interesting. So, you guys might be up for elimination. We'll see. We'll come back to it. Alright. Team Pagwarmers, what do you guys have? Well, I don't really speak that much, but I'm gonna make that up. I found something in the GBA version that will shock you. What's that? When you beat the game, you're presented to screenshots of the prototype of Cars Made International, Our Lightning McQueen still uses his Xbox 360 model with his rookie paint job. And also, the most interesting about that is that Goodman is not in it. But Emma was there. So Lightning might have was originally meant to race against Emma instead of Goodman. And Goodman probably wasn't even planned yet in that stage of development. And maybe Yuri wasn't planned either. We don't know. But the point is, I'm surprised that no one really talks about that, about the beta screenshots in the GBA version of the game. Yeah, but then again, that version of the game is kind of obscure. So, yeah, so I don't think we can mention anything of this without bringing up the portable versions of the game. So you guys, these definitely pass, because that is definitely very obscure. Well, it's not the most obscure thing, but we're going to give someone else the honors. That's a good sportsmanship, Parker. Yeah, very good sportsmanship. Thanks. Alright. Team First, what do you guys have? Alright, we might as well bring this up, the elephant in the room. What is that? Who the heck is Yuri? We don't know who he is. We only know he's Russian. We only know he speaks English. We only know he's green. He's an unmodified version of Goodman. And his license plate is probably the most unique out of any of the non-playable new characters from the video games. Yeah, I see. So, yeah, Yuri's definitely very obscure. When I was playing Team Relay 1, I was expecting to race against Guido when I tagged Mater. But here comes this Russian car for some odd reason. And we have no idea who he is. Maybe if he had a cutscene like Philip, maybe we would have known who he was. And he would have been as famous as he wanted to be. Probably as famous as the Doki Doki Literature Club Yuri. Yeah, but even then, I think the Doki Doki Yuri would probably be more famous. Yeah. Oh, we all know how the Nazi Yuri ship is. So, yeah. So you guys definitely pass with just mentioning Yuri alone. So anyway, Team Piston Cup Racers, what do you guys have? Well, you know how all the racers in Cars of Video Game are all Aiken models? Yeah? Well, there's originally going to be a Claude Scruggs model. We only know that because the former developer of the game showcased of all the different models that they used during the game. And, yeah. And it was a Claude Scruggs model, and it was originally going to be used, but it was never rigged or anything like that. And it was originally going to appear in Cars 2 the video game, but then it got scrapped. Again. So we never got to play as a Claude Scruggs model racer ever. Yeah, that's very interesting. I'm not sure why they would scrap a Claude Scruggs model like that, but yeah. I get that. Well, if we were doing ratings, I get it at 10 out of 10, but regardless. You guys pass. Alright, Team Blue, what do you guys have? Well, let's address another elephant in the room, which centers around me. What's that? My real canonic name. Why was it never revealed in the first place? There has to be a reason, because every other racer got a name, except me. Why? Is it because of feminist propaganda with Cruz Ramirez? Is it because they couldn't think of a name in time? Who knows? But regardless, I'm just sick and tired of the hate because I don't have a name, and yet I got released. Yeah, and you and Lane Locke never got reissued. Yeah. Well, anyway, you passed because that's something definitely worthy to go on the Iceberg. Anyway, Team Green, what do you guys have? Well, what about the Cars 2 races that were originally going to be in there? Like what? The France and Germany races. Oh yeah, I heard about those. They were in Cars 2 DS and 3DS, right? Yes, they were. So, what if they were in the movie? Would the spy thing be cut out? I'm not sure. Maybe not, because John Lasseter really wanted a spy movie. Yeah, well, I wish those races were in the movie. Yeah, same here. So, anyway, I give that a big pass. You guys are safe. Alright, Team Chicks Henchmen, what do you guys have?
Well, with Chick's monologue of saying that he's the highest, most performing racer. Yeah. Well, what? Well, I think he mentioned Vince, not the Vins. I mean, it's kind of hard to hear because of the crowd cheering, but I think he mentioned Vince because we worked with Chick in the past. And, yeah. Yeah. And maybe Vince was originally planned to be in Racerama. That's very interesting. Like, what role would he play? And would we see Queens in the Cars universe? Yeah, and I think our icons were unused there. Yeah. And I think some of the Mayor National characters were in there too. Yeah, wasn't Cars Racerama built off of Cars Mayor National? Yeah. Just like how Sonic 2 was built off of Sonic 1. Very interesting theory. Anyway, you guys pass. Alright, next is Team Custom. What do you guys have? Well, here's something very obscure. What is that? Sally's absence from the Cars video games. She was originally in Cars the video game, but then she was absent up until Driven to Win. How is that possible? I think it had something to do with legal issues with EA, but that's all we only really know about. Yeah, that's very interesting, Dale. You pass, and sorry, there's no rejoin for you guys right now. Well, that's okay. Maybe next episode we will.
All right. Next up is Team NASCAR. What do you guys have?
We gotta address the an elephant in the room. All right, there's a lot of elephants in the room actually. So what is that? Porter Racing Cop. Why does he exist? Why would he exist? And why wouldn't Gameloft go with regular no nonsense Vidley Petrov? Yeah. I mean, Vidley does have a Ice Racer diecast, so it would make sense for Gameloft to go with him instead of making their own character. Then again, I guess they wanted to make a little host of the ice racing and make him a playable character. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. So anyway, you guys pass because Porter Racing Off is definitely an obscure character, even though he wasn't originally meant to be an obscure character. But he was obscure ever since Cars 3 became a thing. Yeah, that's kind of odd. Alright, so anyway, you guys pass. Team Thunder Hall, what do you guys have to bring up? What Iceberg an Iceberg is incomplete without mentioning a beta build of a certain game. What is that? Well, it's the Cars International demo that Valmir29 played a long time ago. And he was able to see Fletcher, Liddy, and a few other characters that were playable in International that weren't playable in the final. Interesting. And Fletcher apparently had a screen selection quote, which was, let's show these things how it's done, huh? Yep. And I do remember that. And I hope we find that International demo one day and uncover it and see all the various differences of it. Yeah, I hope so too. So anyway, that is definitely a huge pass. You guys are safe. Alright. Team World Grand Prix, what do you guys have? Well, let's mention the only version of Cars the video game where I'm not in it. Oh yeah, the 3DS and the DS versions? What about them? Well, let's mention the whole thing. There's the story mode, which wasn't in console versions or the PSP version. There was the France and Germany races that Mike mentioned. There's different music there too. Like there's an early version of the Tokyo theme, and there's actually a different soundtrack that was never used at all. And it's kind of scary to hear when you hear it. Yeah, and I actually like the idea, and I did play the DS version of Cars the video game, and you also forgot to mention the Piston Cup race at the beginning of the story mode. Oh yeah, that one too. It's kind of interesting that we got to see that. Yeah. Anyway, you guys pass. Alright, Team Hangouts, what do you guys have? Well, me originally thinking about being dead. Oh, real quick, honestly, you're thinking about you being dead and originally meant to be dead in Cars the video game? Well, of course. I mean, that's inevitable. We had to bring that up. Well, it is. Well, that is worthy to bring up the iceberg, but it's not that obscure. I mean, everyone knows about that, and everyone also knows that it's Michael's Fantastic Cars' wet dream. So anyway, sorry, but you guys are up for elimination. Wow, first time ever since episode 1. That's interesting. Wow. Wow, bro. We made it this far without Conrad ruining us. Well, sorry, Rip, but I hope you do better next time. It's okay. Hey, it's okay, Miguel. I forgive you. Well, I didn't really do anything, but still. All right. So, have you guys Team World Grand Prix? You guys did the best because, well, no one really talks about the DS and 3DS versions of Cars 2 the video game, and that's pretty obscure game, and it's probably the most interesting version of Cars 2 the video game. So, yeah, you'll get a win token. And Jeff, you'll get a win token for bringing it up. All right. And Team Hangouts, you got your elimination. Dole. All right. Well, all right. You can vote either Matty McGear, uh, Miguel Camino, Rip Klitschkowski, Jack the Post, or Danny Suarez to be eliminated.